Well, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Vegas? Who's excited? Come on, fun show of the year. All right. Appreciate you being here. If you're a football fan, I know there's a big game going on, so I'm a big football fan, so if something big happens, let me know. It's okay to interrupt. I'm kind of emotionally invested. But thanks for coming to my session. Let me explain to you what we're going to do. I'm not going to give an interview of who I am or what I do. I know you all can read, and I have a background of a lot of different things, and we can talk about that later if you're so interested. But a lot of what I do is studying how the human brain works, which equates to sales and marketing and getting us more business, which we all want, right? Right? Everybody after more business. I mean, so I want to understand how the session is. How it's written up is not going to be exactly what you're going to do. The third part of the session, I'm going to get into tangible ideas, areas of companies I think are good, and about 10, 12 ideas that I've used over the years and continue to think of that you can take to your customers and your customers can take to their customers. Fair? But most importantly, we got to see what's going on in this, what I call crazy world we live in, and understand if we're selling ice cream cones, brand identity products, straws probably not a good thing to be selling right now. It is all the same, what's going on. So you're going to see a lot of this is I'm going to set the groundwork for you to really challenge how you're presenting things and just why you among all the choices. So let's jump right into it. First, I always like to start with a story. I was out speaking here in Vegas a couple months ago. I'm going to be careful. I'm not going to mention the hotel, but it was a hotel you would know. And this time I had my wife with me on the trip. She didn't make the last one. One of my good friends came out on the trip. And I decided to stay a few extra days from speaking at another big show. And they put us in a room, and this room was just not good. And they knew I was out speaking. They knew I do a lot of things on social media. We got up to the room. The air conditioning didn't work. There was a stain on the floor. And this is a fairly regarded hotel here, okay? I'm being careful what I say. When you're recorded live, please bear with me. I got to make it. So anyway, I'm just big on, you'll see on transparency, and people make mistakes but doing it right. So they put that. The phone didn't work in the room. There were not even glasses in the room. And I mean, this room, and this is a hotel, again, you would know, and it's supposed to be fairly nice. So I'm like, this is ridiculous. We stayed the first night because it was two guys, and we're like, we'll make the best of it. Next morning, I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's hot in here. I'm going down there. So I walk down there, and I talk to the first guy. Now, mind you, in this hotel, there's no human being to talk to in checking in. It's all virtual. It looks like 20 years, like everybody's hovering around, checking themselves in with 15 employees standing around going, do you need help? I'm like, do you see 100 people not checking in? This is our new technology. Like, yeah, it seems to be great. And the reason I'm going to be telling you all this is human to human is going to be a big part of this. So we checked in, did that. I went back down to find a manager to explain this stuff to. And the guy says, sir, I'm sorry about that. We don't have amenities like glasses. And I can send somebody up for, AC and whatever. I'm like, look, there's just a lot. I just want a different room. Or I usually stay at another hotel, which I'll plug, Aria, and I could go there. No, we can't do that. I said, but you comped me to come here because you want me to be here, and I don't like it here. And so the guy literally just looked at me like, what do you want me to do about it? It is what it is. We're sold out. So I walked away. Actually called my wife, and I said, she goes, I'm looking online right now, and I see tons of openings. So I walk back, I need to talk to somebody else. Find another guy, virtual guy walking around, and he walks up, and he says, I said, look, man, this is not going to be pretty, because when I take it to Twitter and whatever, I'm not going to stop with this, because it's not right. The guy point blank lied to me. Well, we're sold out, sir. I'm like, well, how can I book a room right now? He goes, that's our hotel? I'm like, and I'm like, he goes, that's not right. And I said, I promise you, if you make the situation right, I will go the other extreme. I said, I've already reached out to MGM. I've reached out to, it was MGM property. I said, reach out to, the hotel's official Twitter website. We're going to get this resolved because the guy point blank lied, and it was very rude. Anyway, long story short, the guy made it right. He went the extra mile. But by this time, I feel like, I guess there was some celebrity in the hotel, because by the evening, I'm like, that's great. They comped all our resort. You know how you've got to pay the resort fees now, and instead of parking. They comped all this. What can we do for you? Take this off, change rooms. We can absolutely give you a room with glasses and air conditioning. I'm like, thanks for the glasses. When that became an amenity in a hotel, Anyway, get all that done. By the end of the day, the general manager of the hotel calls, and they have a big boxing middleweight championship fight. Like, Mr. Sauers, I understand you've been troubled. It's come through a lot of things. What would you like to sold out 2 tickets to the fight to make this right? Long story short, they finally made it right. The gentleman, the second gentleman on the same level as the first guy, no more power, no more authority. He listened to what I said and said, let me see what I can do for you. And what I mean by it wasn't about the room, it was the principle of the matter to me. So I was talking to my friend the other day before I came out, and he goes, man, we did get a lot of cool things. He's like, I didn't understand why you were fighting so hard for it. And I said, because it's wrong. And my point of saying all of that is it took human to conversation, all their technology, all their check-in stuff. It took a personal relationship of somebody who listened, who asked questions, and even that general manager coming back and saying, how do we make this right? And when I had those things out on Twitter before, I went back several times fold and told them, way to go, solving a problem creatively, which is the session here, and that's their sales, that's their marketing, that's their brand, and I gave them a lot of shout-outs back for that. So if you want to scour my Twitter account, you'll figure it out, all right? All right, so that's what we're after. Real quick, too, I'm going to set the stage of the world we live in. Remember, the first parts of this are talking about the buyers and your customers, what they're bombarded with. As we know, we are not their only priority. Every day, this is Pew Research if you want to look it up, 2.5 quintillion, that's 18 zeros, data are created a day. It's a lot of data are created, every day. 90% of the data in the world has been created in the past 2 years. Now, I'll just tell you, there's a couple slides I've added at the end because I'm a perfectionist, so if they're not in your handouts, take a shot of them with your phone, email me, whatever, I'll get them to you. But if they were to benefit this as I thought of them. Think about 90% of the data being created in the last 2 years. When I go down to Disney World, I have a little place down there. If anybody's ever been there, it's that big world, the big ball inside Epcot. And we go frequently, and you ride the little ride. And for years, I've been wondering, why is the last thing on there a guy looks like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs developing a computer? I'm like, there's a lot that's happened since then. And I love Disney, But anyway, 90% of the data in the world has been created in the past 2 years. Changes by minutes. YouTube watchers watch 4.15 million videos per minute. 103 million spam emails are spent per minute. I feel like that. I get a lot of spam emails. I get a lot of emails in general. 456,000 tweets are sent per minute, and 2.7 gigs of data are used by Americans per minute. That's all research. That's a lot of information, and that's what I want to set the context of. So the first third, we're going to go through to set the stage, so how our programs, how the areas we focus on, how we're different, how we're going to get through all this noise. So these are time-tested principles. If you're of a certain age, when I'm talking human to human, you would say, isn't that common sense? Yeah, you'd think so. But we are dealing, and I'll show you one other slide I added, we have beginning of a 5th generation, which I'll show you. You can take a picture of it. 5th generation, like my daughter's 19, just went to college. Don't let my picture fool you. I got to get a new headshot soon. My wife's been telling me that for a while. But anyway, these are time-tested principles, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to be talking about human-to-human sales. This is the number one thing we're talking about in sales and marketing across the country. I was on a radio show in Atlanta the other day, Business Radio X. I'll give them a shout-out because I gave them a shout-out out on air. But I said human-to-human. And if you're of a certain age, again, you're going, human-to-human, isn't that the whole point of sales? Right, but we've lost sight of that. Behind every Twitter account, Instagram account, text message, email, we've forgotten the human beings. That's going to be a big part of what we're talking about today. Solution sales is not only needed, it's demanded. It is demanded. Our goal, and I'm going to explain this in more detail, in the 4th bullet point, is to be an interactive partner. Think about those words, interactive partner, not a transactional vendor, using the word bid, which is my least favorite word. I'll explain that more in a minute. So we want to focus on solution sales in these programs and the areas which we're going to go to in the last third of the presentation to create value. When sales is done correctly, this was what my second book was about, Would You Buy From You? Your brand, your unique you makes the difference. It's what people are buying. And that brand is the key, that humanness is the key, that realness is the key, that value is the key to success. And again, no matter what you're selling. Here we're talking about promotional products, brand identity products. But the problem is, with all these industries I speak at, everybody thinks they can get in the promotional product business because they can add it to their list of things they sell. And they're not the experts at it. They don't even understand it. So we're the experts at it, and we've got to show that through our value. My team is kind enough over the years to collect things I say because, again, since my wife's here, she knows I forget half of what I actually say. And that's something I said. Your brand, your company's brand is not what you say it is. It's what they say it is, right? So if I said, you said, Ryan, the reason people do business with us is we have absolutely, I mean, price is important, not the reason, it's our service. And we can do things fairly quickly in turnaround time. And I did a survey, if I do a survey of your company, and they said, well, they have decent service, but honestly, their pricing is there, and it's really close to us to do business with, that's why we do it. Those don't line up. Those aren't the same thing. So, because everybody's going to fall asleep, just stand up where you are for 1 minute. So let me show you what perception and brand looks like. Just stand up where you are, all right? Now, this works more effectively if you're standing up because some people can't tell clockwise and counterclockwise. Everybody take your pen and point it straight up at the ceiling. So I'm going to give you instructions. You're going to watch your own pen. So turn your pen clockwise straight at the ceiling. Clockwise straight at the ceiling. Start bringing your pen now, still pointing clockwise straight at the ceiling about bringing it down, still pointing it clockwise straight at the ceiling about eye level now, still pointing clockwise straight at the ceiling about eye level now. Start looking down at your pen, still going clockwise straight at the ceiling, looking down at your pen now, still going clockwise, pointing straight at the ceiling. In which way does your pen appear to be going? What changed? Bingo. Thank you. All right, you can sit down. Thank you so much. But see, that's what I'm talking about. These are ways we learn as adult learners. I mean, I teach a lot of, college and leadership and marketing classes at night for working adults, for masters and bachelors, and people 6 to 10 are going to fall asleep if we don't do stuff like that. So bear with me. I'm going to teach you all the ways to think, and then I'm going to give you the ideas to go home with. So perception and reality. Here's our world. You got Ron Burgundy over there. Here's the look we all feel like to the right. I mean, how many of you would say you come back from the holidays, you kind of snuck some time in? I did. I went on a holiday trip with my family, my 3 daughters, my wife. It was great. And then I started going, man, I kind of want to get going. But everybody kind of just started really getting back January 6th or 7th because they kind of snuck those days in because we all wanted to do that. And then we start hearing this. I'm slammed, I'm buried, I'm drowning, I'm ragged, I'm running, I'm in the weeds, I'm covered up, I'm buried. Think about all those terms. So we feel like this. Our customer feels like this. When we bring programs into them, that's how they feel. Their only job is not buying brand identity programs, products, or taking your call or email, as you well know. Matter of fact, right now, or probably not right now because people are watching football or in here, but starting Monday while you're at the show, and I applaud you being here while you're walking the floor, people are calling on your customers, and they're calling on my customers. So we've got to continually be paranoid about customer retention, customer growth, and new business development. And again, we're going to get into the specifics on how to do that. But what do people want? This is why, if you look at the left box, this is why we're getting screen time warnings on our phone now. Because you know what research is saying? What is the last thing we do before we go to bed in many cases? Look at and what is the first thing we do when we wake up in many cases? That's research. And I actually love reading hard books, like I said, you saw my stuff, I'm working on my doctorate in leadership. So I get hard copies for that, but I take for travel like a Kindle or whatever. So you're looking at a screen. So to a certain extent, it's not in these slides, we got to sell attention span. It doesn't matter if we're the best sales and marketing person in the world. If they're not paying attention, it's irrelevant, right? So what do they want, though? They don't know it. They want community. We all do. Think about how you feel. Conversation, connection. They want real connection, even though they say they don't want to meet with you. We don't have time to meet. We don't have time to meet. But when you meet, something happens. When you spend time, something happens. You actually enjoy the time, right? Caring. Everybody wants to feel cared about. Let me stop 1 second. How does this feel for everybody? Just doing this. Oh, that feels really good. So I'm going to do that again. Because you know what I mean? Just that feeling. That's what our customers are buying with you, with me. Because trust me, in this industry, you can buy anything from anybody, anywhere, at any time. The ingredients are you. They want caring to know people care about them more than just one project. And they want a creative approach, constantly a creative approach. And they want calm because that very Deep breath, because they're feeling it, you're feeling it, we're feeling it. We are all racing a 24-hour clock that cannot be defeated, will never be defeated. And I'll say this, it's not in the speech, your customers, you have 168 hours in the week, period. 24 times 7, no more, no less. It's the great equalizer of all mankind. The question is, what do you do with your time? And we're here today talking about sales, so I just want to consider that. And that's the same thing for your customers. Again, we're inundated with requests. We have more information at our fingertips than can ever be processed. As I said earlier, we're trying to multitask. I think you would all agree doing 2 or 3 things at the same time. And the human brain hasn't evolved that much. And, you know, I'm writing Post-it notes, and people laugh at me all the time. I got like 25 different reminder lists. And again, she's here, so I don't mind saying it live. She's like, why do you need a reminder for a reminder? I mean, you've got so many reminders that it's like a job keeping up with your reminders, like, because I'm going to forget, you know, and it's a never-ending thing. And I'm saying that if everybody's nodding. So when we take these programs and ideas and unless they're to our customers, if we're not thinking about this, I don't care what we take them, they're not even going to be receptive. Does that make sense to everybody, you know, where we are? All right. So everybody wants salespersons who make things simple. They want to make the process simple. They don't want, this is the problem, you know, I can order things online. I still have a company where I can order, you know, banners or signage or whatever online. Here's the problem with that. I never know what actually I'm going to get. And half the time I order it, I get it wrong. And if you call looking for a human, good luck. Because they're like, they almost would rather send it to you twice than actually have you talk, because they're not staffed correctly. That is a huge, huge opportunity. You may have a very robust website that you can refer your customers to, but they also have you, because you're there to run interference for them when they get the wrong thing or they don't understand. That's your job. They want, customers want people who offer solutions. They want people, again, who are very creative in approach, like that hotel story I told you, versus, yep, we're out of rooms. That's the easy answer. That's not the true answer. They want people who can reduce their stress. This is all about solution sales. And they want people who can save time. Who here is willing to pay a little bit more for, do y'all have grocery stores in your town now that are where you can go get click list and pick up your groceries? Pay $5, it saves you an hour of time. I think we found the trade-offs worth it at some point. Time is so valuable because of what I said. A couple more slides, and then we're going to start getting into the meat of the whatever. Again, people desire people they can trust. They want to have that more time, and that's why we always hear things like, I want to go to the ocean, I want to go to the lake, I want to go to the beach, I want to go to the mountains. A couple interesting things. One, those are all kind of God-created things, if you think about it, we don't control. Two, they allow for digital detox, if you will. When I went on this cruise ship, it's not anything except it allowed my family not to all be on their phones all the time. Except for my middle daughter thought somehow she could connect to Florida since we were near Key West, and my wife got a call going, she's run up a $350 roaming fee, and I'm like, after my oldest daughter's at college dropped her phone and cracked it on the thing, and one of them lost a prescription they had to have, and I'm like, I'm not a bank. So I'm just telling you, no matter what it is, we all deal with this. They want to be away from stress, noises, and constant decisions. This is where our opportunity lies. And again, that racing clock, time demands, that's our job. And that, as you see underlined, is our opportunity to solution sell. Okay? Again, the real ideas at the end are going to come, but we have to set this up. You've got to be selling solution-wise like this. That slide was one slide I added. You've got to be selling at this deep why level, and I always say this to people, most salespeople that I train, most salespeople that I go and send them out on a sales call, I said, well, what about this? How long has the person been there? What'd they think of the program idea? What'd they think about the new offering? They're like, oh, yeah, I forgot to ask that. Oh, dang, yeah, I meant to write that down. Sandy, I know as much about the sales call as you, and I didn't go. They're like, it was so what do you think? I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't there, but I don't know that you were either. So this why level thinking, I'll give you a video to watch if you've never seen it. He's a colleague of mine through social media. His name's Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K. I would suggest you watch the first 7 minutes of it. It's one of the classics of all time. A lot of people have seen it, but I'd recommend watching it 80 times. The first 7 minutes is called Start With Why, W-H-Y. I was working on my second book. I was doing this deep under the level of iceberg thinking, and he was doing these, he didn't create this, but these 3 levels of thinking. And the whole idea is, if you're trying to inspire people, you want to go, hey, you know, buy my car. And he uses this example. But, you know, it has leather seats. It has great gas mileage. Buy this car. That's selling at the what, how, surface level. What you want to talk about is, this is going to be safety for your family. This car is going to hold its value for many years. This car, you know, is going to protect, you know, your you know, if you get hit from the side, or it's going to let you see blind spot detection. It's going to, you know, help you stay safe. Whatever it is, that's selling to the why level, and that's how we got to sell, and we got to ask those questions. People are willing to pay more. Here's the point of these things. Innovative ideas. They're going to pay more. People always say it's about price. And I know we all hear price, price, price. And some people, folks, you're right. That is all they care about. And here's my advice. Move on. And if they realize, you know, they can get it online. Well, I mean, do you guys ever deal with that? I can get it online for XYZ? Great. But what are they really buying for that? And what about when it doesn't come out right? And they have the headaches. Generally, they go, it didn't go so well last time. So they're willing to pay for stress relief. If they got a big convention or event they're planning for, and you're supplying a program or a product, they want to make sure it goes correctly. I own 2 magazines in Atlanta, Georgia. So they're still, I came from the print industry, owned a big print and promo company. Here's the deal. Every time it's manufactured, you're waiting for it to come out. But I know the people on the other side will make it right and stand behind it. I'm still sweating bullets, right? Value. We've talked about this over and over. They want value. If you see value, they'll pay more. They want superior service. If you would have caught me 7 years ago at this PPAI show, I would have said price, service, and quality, all 3 are given. You got to have them. The problem is our service, as I mentioned in the hotel story, has gotten so bad. I actually called a hotel. I can't say that. I'm actually staying here. I'm just tired, as I'll show you in another slide. No matter who we call, we get put on for quality and training purposes. No one is using those phone calls while we set on hold for quality and training. I'd like to find the company it is. It means don't call us, because it's really not that important. But you're going to say, what does that mean to my business? That means as human beings, that's how our lives are lived, and that's what our world is like. And because of that, if you bring in calm and ideas and stress-free, you're going to solution sell. People are willing to pay for a great experience. That's why, again, I've been down there frequently, Disney World daily tickets, they keep raising the prices. And beside Epcot, where I can have a few beverages as I walk through the countries, that's the only reason I go and I can sneak in the back. I've been more times than any human should ever have to go, and if I ever have to go to the Magic Kingdom again, it's going to be when I have grandkids one day, and hopefully they've changed the rules on that, because I can't take it anymore. But the people that can, the happiest place on earth, I don't see a lot of people looking happy in there. I see them running each other over. By the way, I broke my foot 5 weeks ago, so I'm very pleased to say I'm wearing a shoe as I fell down the stairs, no idea why, carrying a laundry basket. But I share that with you to say, A, I'm human, B, I'm here, but I did make it through Disney, and I had a lot of people on scooters driving around when I was in Epcot, hobbling in a boot 15,000 steps, and they're like, Dad, get a scooter. I'm like, that'd be bad drinking that beverage, driving a scooter. I'd think they'd be like, sir, you can't have it both ways, so I walked. I got to keep you laughing a little bit. All right, creative ideas, what ideas can you bring to them? That's what we're going to get to at the end. Saving them time, huge. Again, we talked about that. They're willing to pay more for that, and they're willing to pay for trust. Does that mean something or not? Because you know as well as I do, and I'm going to give you some ideas at the end. Do you do what you say you're going to do? Does your company do what it says it's going to do? The guy that I was speaking that came out here with me before, he goes, you know, I'm not a marketing guy like you. I'm not a branding guy. You want me to say what my company does? I don't even know what to write. I'm like, and so I get him all mad. That's how he finally comes up with a Y-level idea. He's like, you know what? Okay, fine. I've been in business 25 years. I do what's right no matter the circumstances. My handshake means something. When something goes wrong, I stand up and make it right. I'm like, bingo. I'll just polish that up a little bit, and there we go. That's your vision. That's your brand, okay? So I'm doing a session tomorrow that's more on change, but for this session, trust is what people are buying. You see the slides in the handout. I already mentioned it. But, I mean, come on. I mean, you know, how long do you have to stand on hold? For faster service, I like Southwest. I also like Delta, depending on what I'm doing. But everyone, I mean, they're like, for faster service, business online. I'm like, if I could have found it online, why would I want to sit on hold? I can't find what I need online, so I'm calling you. Your call is very important to us. No, it's not. It is not important to you. You're understaffed, and it's not for quality, and you're wasting my time. That's how I feel, and that's how we all feel. We have an opportunity. Less perfection, more authenticity. That's that human to human. That's what our world is wanting in sales right now. Remember, I'm setting all this up for the tangible ideas. That's what I want you to go in. People want real. People, when I'm talking about my family or my foot, that's real. You're going to remember these stories because that's how humans learn. That's how humans learn. This is the slide I added. It's hard to read, okay? But I can tell you, if you go to Pew Research, that's PEW Research, I found this the other day, and I found it fascinating, being that I have a 19-year-old, because for years we've talked about the millennials in the workforce. The millennials are not the newest generation now. We have a generation we now call Gen Z. Now, it's hard for you to read. It's hard for me to, it's the best I could do. But let me just tell you what this says. This Gen Z, now think about this for a minute. This is just entering the workforce. Now, you may say, what does this have to do with solution sales? A lot, because people all are different. You know, I'm already seeing a difference in my kids. They actually are going back to stores shopping. And their friends, they like the experience of shopping where millennials predominantly was online. And they're going, we like to go and do that. They even like the physical feel of the magazine. You know why? They're like, we've never seen this before. Think about that for a second. What's that going to mean to your business in 2 years, 3 years? All right, Gen Z is born 1997 or later. That makes me feel old, wow. Okay, millennials, born 1981 to 1996. First of all, I want to say Gen Z, large generation. Millennials, large generation. I'm 46. I'm right in the middle of this Gen X, very small generation. That's born 1965 to 1980. Baby boomers, very large generation, born 1946 to 64. And then we have many people working well into their 70s. You know, we call it the silent or great generation, 72 or older. Now, think about what that means. I was talking 5 years ago about we had 4 generations in the workforce to sell to. Communication gets very tricky because I'm sitting there at 46 going, oh yeah, I remember faxes. Thank God we don't have to fax. I remember camera ready. People call me all the time for printing going, what if we supply this camera ready? Do you even know that term? Anybody out there know the term? And then I'm like, I tell you what, if you supply camera ready to me, I'll do it for free. And they're like, seriously? I'm like, yep, I will. You put your ad in my magazine, you supply camera ready, I will do it for free. Can I tell my boss that? Yeah, absolutely. But first, you mean a PDF? They're like, yeah, camera ready. I'm like, okay. I'm not going to go through the story. Just be glad there's PDFs and so forth. Anyway, that's what we got to consider too, and I want you to see that. So a couple more things. I've talked about it. It's noisy. Everybody sounds the same. If that's true, low price is going to win. If it's not true, they're going to go with what they see in value. And I mentioned this before, so I want to mention it again. If they see you, this is what I want you to get your mind around as we move to the third part of this with the tangible ideas to take out. If they see you as a transactional vendor who is sitting across the table from them, you know what I'm talking about, discussing pricing and whatever, you're not the closest to them to hold on to that, whether it's an existing customer or not. But if they see you, and I'm sure you have those, as an interactive partner is sitting shoulder to shoulder with them. And they're the ones that are going to call you, as in my 25-year career, and go, Ryan, my boss is looking at this hard. I don't need you to match it, but I need to see what you can do. And I think you could all relate to that. You're like, all right, let me see what I can do. Don't match it, but we need some help. That is who we're going to program sales to. Real quick, model I created, I'm only going to point out one thing. Sufficient and effective sales. You want to maximize all these programs and whatever, and all I'm going to talk about is this one quadrant. You want to be as highly efficient as you can, and highly effective as you can, and highly efficient. You want to use your sales time. It's your most guarded, precious time. Bringing programs in, creative time in, prospecting in, whatever it is you're doing with your sales time. There's too many salespeople who aren't, they're not efficient with their time. They take forever looking customers up or thinking of programs, or as I well know, trying to find products, researching through the... I think we know in this industry, if you go walk the floor, there's more products than almost, it's overwhelming. It's like going on Amazon. So we're now to a stage where there's so many products, we got to kind of make it real lean and bring it in and make it simple. But on the other hand, if we're not effective in communicating the options to them, we can be quick with the time and not accomplish the purpose. So be effective, meaning accomplish what you want in the solutions and the ideas, and using the least amount of time possible, but get it right. Okay? So I have a designer who works for me. She takes a long time to do anything, but she's very accurate. But she takes 3 times it would another person. And that's okay with her. She works on a flat rate. But if you go really fast and you're wrong, that's not good either. So just be thinking about that. I just wanted to share that with you. All right. So tangible ideas, a couple things I want to say, and then we're moving to the type of programs that are going to make a lot of sense. First, go into when we're starting thinking solutions, go into every sales opportunity or every phone call you're having and seek first to understand. Has everybody ever heard of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People from Covey? And a lot of people have read it, heard of it, whatever. I've read it countless times. And every chapter has a nugget and means something for the late Stephen Covey. Seek first to understand. What does that mean? Seek first to understand what they're doing before you start pitching them this program we're going to do, or assuming this area of the company is the one to target. I'm going to give you my suggestions, but you could probably say it, you're off base, and I may be. But try to take it and make it your own, okay? WIFT means what's in it for them. It's like a radio call station. You can have I think program sales are great. I think we can do more business together. I think you can get more business from your customer. But if they don't see what it's in it for them, they're not buying in, because everybody, at the end of the day, that's why people like to hear their name. If I said Michael, is there a Michael in here? I just took it. If I said Michael, you parlay. Why is he calling on me? We hear our name. That's why people are like, Ron, it's so good to see you outside. I'm like, it's Ryan. Like, Randy, why are you at the show? I'm like, okay, it's Ryan, and now you keep repeating my name. But people like to hear the name. They like to feel special. And then win-win, we've all heard that. That is when you could create a program, as we're going to talk about at the end, where your program works for your customer, and hopefully your customer can not only benefit internally, but they can take it out to their customers. And I guess that would be a win-win-win. So we're going to talk about recognition programs, wellness programs, safety programs. I'm big on anniversary programs. Why do you think the card industry still exists? There's a card for everything. I mean, literally everything. And so, all about people. Remember, your products and programs have one purpose, and that's to allow them to be successful, celebrate successes. It's not about you selling more X, Y, Z. It is about them benefiting their customers internally and growing from it. If they achieve wins and grow, they're going to buy more stuff from you. I mean, you don't need to say that. I mean, that's the bottom line. So I'm going to give you this thing that's been very important, and people have told me they liked it. Think of the shiver approach in your sales approach. If you're solution selling, simple. It's what you're telling them, showing them. When we start going in with a program, and I'm going to give you, I think, 10 or 11 ideas I think are good ones in about 5 or 6 areas. Is it simple that they can get their mind around? Being that they're slammed and buried and drowning and running ragged? Is it honest? I mean, does it feel honest? Does it feel, you may say, I'm always honest with my customers. But I mean, you know what I'm saying. Is it in their best interest? Do they absolutely unequivocally see it as honest? That's what people want. Is it innovative? Have you done it in a manner that somebody else can't? I mean, how many people get up here and talk, they broke a foot, falling down, carrying a laundry basket before the SEC championship game. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and then sits all day long and won't go to the doctor because I wanted to watch football on December 1st. And when I went and saw the guy the next day, he's like, you broke your foot pretty bad. I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like, and you just sat there on the sofa? I'm like, I was trying to treat the pain myself, and I wanted to watch football, and they're like, that's the look I get a lot, so that's a nice look. Visual. I'm going to tell you what. I love this industry. Scott Stratton is speaking here. He's a colleague of mine in social media. He's on marketing. He was either general session speaker. The whole idea is everybody, when I was on the radio station the other day, guess what they gave me? A coffee mug to take home with me with their station. I said, hey, man, guess what? Remember the people I told you about? He goes, yeah. I'm like, where do you think all this stuff comes from? He was like, oh, yeah. I mean, because he gave me like 3 takeaway gifts. Everybody uses our products. This is one of my most favorite things to do because people will not get rid of a brand identity product even if they hate the name on it if they like it. Remember when those lens wipes first came out? About 10 years ago, I was here, and I'm like, I like this. Now they're pretty much everywhere. But I would use them as a thank you note to a client, and I'd put it in their flat, and I saw the opportunity there. And now I see everybody doing it. But I'm talking about just be creative. Be thinking about those ideas all the time, what's going to work. But visual is why Instagram's so popular. Visual is why YouTube's so popular. And people don't like as much text. They like the visual, and that's what our industry is. You got entertaining. Look, anybody could take the same slides and give this presentation a different way. Your presentation, your client has to be you. That's what we're selling. And I'm going to use another E, educational. You need to be educating them about what's going on. That's your job, to educate them. And if you're that resource, you're in a good shape, in a good place. And relationship, it all comes down to relationship. We know that. It's been the case since the beginning of time. But now more than ever, people long for relationships. And I've been saying, hey, we need to talk more, text less. And I'm the king of sending out 800 emails and complaining about how many emails I get. So I bet you, if you come up to talk to me, I'm going to say this. Will you send me an email with your information? You're going to be like, didn't he just, and I promise you I will, because I know me, and that's what I'll say. But, that's what I want you to do. All right, real quick, and then we're going to move. I'm going to starting with the areas, and then I'm going to start getting into the ideas. Your programs will help them get new clients. They have to see this. So it's hard for me as I was preparing for this going, you're not only benefiting your customers, but if done correctly, they should benefit their customers as well. You're helping them grow existing clients. You're helping them reward their best employees. I'm going to give you specifics on this. You're helping them keep existing clients, or you're keeping existing clients. Look at it either way, whether it's your direct client or your client's client, either way. You're working now, if program in deeper level sales, programs and packages, you're now working at deeper levels with your clients. So you're not just making a one-off or a two-off, or we order 3 times a year. You want regular work, and you're kind of in this with them. That's the whole idea. This is going to allow you to get more referrals from them because of these programs you're putting together that other people aren't. More testimonials from them, which just builds your credibility, whether they put that on LinkedIn, and I'll just give you a little plug, they can come rate your recommendation on LinkedIn, but that's going to, or on their letterhead or whatever, but that's going to allow you to take that out to another client and say, hey, we're doing this project and this program's real well, call, Nancy, she's loved what we've done, and we'll tweak it for you, but it's been very successful. And of course, get more views on your own social media website, et cetera. Some areas I think are important. I like operations. And you guys, you might have a lot more than me, but I mean, finance and accounting, I think is a good one to penetrate. I put, depending on whatever they call it in their company. Sales, obviously. I put these 3 together. The next one, marketing, public relations and communications, and then HR. And I'm going to explain that. Owning a printing company, I had about 150 person printing company, was executive leader there. And we used to have folks, and we were printing. We did some promotional products, but that was before we deeply got into it. But the people in the back running equipment call themselves the non-carpet people, okay? Meaning that they stood on, I guess, concrete doing their job. And what I'm saying by that is they looked at, we had to get them to embrace safety. And why I'm saying that is there's a huge, if you have customers who have forklifts or we used to have oil stains on the floor. And let me tell you what, when somebody, you're running a company and somebody falls and slips and has a problem, rewarding operational efficiency, rewarding, if it's has an operational part in its company, rewarding operational, paying attention and safety, that's countless. And our products should tie into that. Again, there's a plethora of products, so we just got to think through the products, 3 or 4 that are going to tie into these areas. Now, these aren't the ideas. I'm just telling you areas. I put my hands around 5. Accounting and finance are interested in what products could be used to what? What do they want? Bottom line, right? So when we say, hey, we're going to bring products out that are going to help save money, they're going to help bring about more efficiency, they're going to help profitability, they're all ears. Sales. Sales, what does sales want to do? I mean, we all want to do the sales. We want to go out and thank our clients. They want to go out and thank their clients. They want to have something to go, leave behind on a sales call or whatever. I mean, sales is always wanting promotional brand identity products, but it's got to be the right products and but a program with it. Just not, hey, let's order 250 of these and hopefully you'll call me in a year. We got to think through that. I'm going to give you some ideas. Marketing, let's just start with marketing, PR. I put PR in communications. These are going to be people that are planning things for trade shows externally. You know, they're trying to reward, whoever's over marketing is trying to look more external. They're trying to reward clients, and obviously they spend a lot of money on these products, but they've got to see why to buy them from you, why to buy them from your organization versus the many, many people that are telling them they can do the same thing. And I like human resources. Human resources knows everything about employees, right? They know how often they come to work. They know how their wellness is. They know how much money they make. They know a lot of things, and I'm going to give you some ideas on that. But I think that's another good area to talk to. To the far right here, you'll see all this means. You want to take a stab at how much of this iceberg traditionally is under the water? About what percentile? But 90% is about right. Remember, that's what, as we're talking to these people, we want to be thinking, if they go, HR goes, okay, so you're bringing me these ideas, which I'm about to show you, but I don't know what this is at. Think about what will make them go, yeah, that makes sense. I like that idea. I can see how that's going to benefit our company. I can see how that's going to benefit our customer's company. All right, real quick, I want to show you, as you're going to them, before we pull up the ideas, there's 4 real types of learning, and this is very important because this is a sales lesson you can apply to anything. People learn 4 different ways. Visually, I did add this slide, so I apologize. I'm a perfectionist, but I think of these things, and I don't want to not mention them, so take a picture. Good thing people have phones now, you know. So it's a couple slides missing. I always just want to make it the best it can be when I think of an idea. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and reading and writing. And I'm going to explain what each means. Visual are people that see things. I'm going to give you an example of each one that you take home with you. But when you're going to present these ideas, the ideas we're going to look at in the end, to the different areas of the company, I want you to think, which your customer, what area, what are they going to relate to, what kind of style of learning are they going to remember in the sales process? Auditory people learn by listening, visual by seeing. Kinesthetic means by doing. You know, people say, I need to do it. I need to get my hands around it. And reading and writing, self-explanatory, okay? So here's an example. What does everybody see here? We can see which kind of learner you are. What do you see in this picture? Oh, good. Does everybody see a dog? Does everybody see that? I've switched the slide up, so I can't tell you how good a slide it is, so because I want to change, because I already have one for tomorrow's session, but does everybody see the dog or not? Well, that means we're all visual learners, or it's a bad slide. But nonetheless, there's a dog right there. All right, real quick, auditory. This is an important thing for you to consider. It's the only time else I'm going to ask you to stand up. I promise. You don't have to move. You don't have to do a finder's exercise. I'm not doing that. But could y'all stand up where you are for me? Now, there's 2 things you're going to learn. And remember, things I'm teaching you, I want you to go back and teach your clients, use it for your clients. But I want you, first you're going to have to listen to me say a word and then say not. So you got to auditorily go, okay, he's saying, if I'm not that, sit down. So you got to really be an auditory learner. But the second thing I want you to learn as we're doing this, your clients, their clients, me, you, there's distinct differences in all of us and how we learn and why we buy what we buy, okay? So this is my information. So you're going to see the degrees. You and I might look at something different, and you're also going to learn auditory exercise. So when I say this, first thing up, if you're not, what I put up is the first one, sit down, okay? First one, if you're not in your mid-40s, however you want to define that, please sit down. Okay, I'm feeling alone here. Okay, good, that's one. So we're 1 degree away. All right, next, if you're not married, please sit down. All right, so I got a lot of people standing tough. But we're in Vegas, house always wins. I got the house stacked. So if you've not been married at least 20 years, please sit down. There's always people staring at me like, I got you, partner. And I'm like, all right, we'll see. All right, if you're not a parent of whatever age, they never go away, it seems. I'm starting to feel they're going to be in my house forever. If you're not a parent of a kid or grown up of offspring of some sort, please sit down. Okay, so people hand tough. If you don't have at least 3 of them, please sit down. All right, it's getting tight here. If you don't have at least 3 daughters, please sit down. All right, okay. So 2 things we learned. Number 1, you had to sit there and go, I'm not this, because it's the exact opposite, and that's auditory. Secondly, It's a great example because it reminds you how my worldview is different. You know, I go on down, at the end I got you're the speaker right now, so there's no way, the house always wins. House always wins. You know, I'm like, there's always a guy at the end, he's like, and I'm like, dude, you're not gonna win. I mean, you know, come on, I got the thing. But it goes to show you how I see things differently in you, and then auditory, you know, how we learn. Now, real quick, kinesthetic. Everybody has a pen and a piece of paper in front of them? If you're talking to your client, I want you, again, if they're a hands-on learner, what I want everyone to do is I want you to sign your name just like you're signing a check at a restaurant, a signature. Just sign your name. Everybody do that? Difficult? Probably not. Even if you've had a few cocktails, you could probably do it. Not that difficult. Now, what I want you to do under that is I want you to do the exact same thing of signing your name, but I want you to do it with your opposite hand. Everybody laughs, and everybody's like, right. And there's always one guy like, I'm ambidextrous. I'm like, okay, you don't count. You don't count, and you can leave. Oh, I'm just kidding. Okay, here's the point. Second time, did you sign your name? Probably ugly, uncomfortable, whatever. Here's one thing in solution sales you have to know. We all prefer, if I'm right-handed, I prefer my right hand to shake hands. So when somebody's like left-handed, I'm like, wait, I don't know even what for. I'm like, do I step forward? It's just uncomfortable. So if they're a left-handed learner, if you will, or they're a visual learner or an auditory learner, as we get to these final things I'm going to give you the ideas of, be thinking about that. You know, again, with the stuff I do with Myers-Briggs, DISC, all this stuff, this is just an easy way to describe it. But if you're talking going, man, I see things visually, and they don't, you need to talk their language. That was what my first book was about, right hand, left hand, and that's a great example to remember it. And then lastly, look at this down here in red and tell me how many F's and Frank you see. F's and Frank in the red. Just count it and shout them out. I honestly don't even remember the answer to this. I've done it a lot of times, but what do you see? 6, 5, 7. All right, we're going to count together because I honestly don't remember the answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I missing one? That's not an F. F is in Frank. I'm sorry. That's what I was using Frank. F and Frank. Sorry. That's a, all right. Was it 6? Anyway, my point is, what do our eyes don't notice? They don't notice the word of, right? We read quick and don't see it. And then my kids text me abbreviations I've never even heard of. So my middle daughter started working for me. She turned 16, and she wrote me a message. She's like, "Brah, we're going to do this in VR, whatever." So I'm like, "Can y'all write me like a cheat sheet? Because I don't even know what you're talking about." I mean, I'm 46. I'm not 86. I use social media, but I get LOL. I get OMG. But when you're using like NFR for real, I'm like, so they did, like a bunch of them, they're like, oh, don't forget that one, that's a new one. And my 11-year-old does the same thing, and I'm like, first of all, this grammar, I mean, I consider myself a fairly highly educated person, and I'm not expecting a text, but I'm like, does this mean you're going to work today and do some sales calls? I don't know what this means. So I have a cardboard sheet of like, they wrote down like 45 things. Okay, so there we go. All right. Now, let's get to these programs and these ideas. All right, first of all, one thing I think is great is Welcome Aboard program for new clients. Welcome Aboard program for new clients. Are we using our products? Are we using our stuff to welcome aboard new clients? That should absolutely be a program. You should have, I don't need to tell you about the products, but you need to celebrate with them, or you need to have your client celebrating with their client about bringing on a new client. And you need to have different, you know, maybe it's a bigger client, maybe it's a smaller client, different products. And that should be a part of a program you're selling into. Remember, I mentioned marketing, I remember sales, finance, accounting. You got to figure out, I don't have all the answers of exactly who to talk to, because every company's different depending on their size. Maybe it's the CEO, I don't know. But Welcome Aboard program for new clients, I've seen very successful. These are my ideas I've implemented, ideas I've seen over the years. So we'll move to the second one, Caught in the Act of Success programs. I'm working on my doctorate right now, and they have a program that says, catch me doing something right. Another place is, you know, catch me at my best. I've seen, like, I think Hilton Hotels has something similar. Obviously, bigger companies are doing it. I used to have it at the printing company, exactly that, Caught in the Act of Success. People loved it. They got a picture taken. They were going above and beyond. So you could be rewarding, or your customer could be rewarding a vendor, a supplier, they could be rewarding an employee, they could be rewarding whatever, but these products should give them, depending on what the person's done, going above and beyond, a lot of products. And the beautiful thing about this industry is there's no lack of products, so you can have fun with it. How about this, an annual account review program? What does that mean? You're sitting down ideally with you and a couple members of your team, not just the salesperson and the person buying, but maybe some higher ups and them, so that if that person leaves, you don't lose the customer. This is the best way to sell, because they're like, I know the VP or the senior VP or the owner. And people change jobs. I mean, in LinkedIn, we see it all the time now. I mean, I can see people go, oh, wow, this lady who was in this nonprofit has now moved to a roofing company in Atlanta over director of sales and marketing. She's probably going to be calling me about local advertising. The relationships are there. It makes it, if you're of a certain age, before you're like, where'd so-and-so go? Now if you're on LinkedIn, that makes it a little easier once they update their profile. But annual account review, sitting down, talking about 2018, talking about 2019, and with that should become a brand identity product for their team with their name on it, or if they're doing it with their customer, the name on it. And it needs to tie into the occasion. Reviewing the account, thanking for their business, what's coming up ahead. You guys think of the products. That's the idea. How about this? Client anniversary celebration programs. How long have they been a customer? Or how long has their customer been a customer? You know what? Those customers that have been with us a long time are quite valuable, aren't they? I can tell you, once those customers trust you, and we're trying to go deeper with this program sales. But it's hard to replace somebody that's been with you year after year, because when somebody gives you a shot and comes on board, you're kind of in that honeymoon phase. So if you're rewarding client anniversary celebrations, it's almost like I'll be coming up on 22 years of marriage soon, so we're doing this a little early getaway. But why do we celebrate those anniversaries? Because they're important. And if they're important, we're letting them know they're important, or our client letting their client know they're important. So what products are we going to put in place with that to celebrate? Obviously, if it's a 1-year client, I'd probably do something different with a 5-year client or a 10-year client, right? And make a big deal out of it, and and use it through your social channels and get a picture with it and make it visual, because people are like, how do I get one of those? Like, well, we hope you're around a long time. Let's move to the next one. Employee anniversary celebration programs. Are we rewarding the people that stay with us a long time? Employees. Let me tell you what. The employees that do a great job, there's a book, if you've ever read it, Jim Collins' Good to Great. And people get the right people in the right seats of the bus. I've taken many companies through that. Here's the deal, 2 things. One, you get the right people, you can accomplish almost anything. But more importantly, we spend way too much time as business owners screwing around with the people not performing correctly. And what I learned when I took companies through it, I thought through my career, I'm like, I spent forever trying to get these people to perform. They weren't bad employees, but they just always had some kind of problem. And yet, I wasn't rewarding those people that were just always, I took them for a little bit for granted, I guess, maybe. Like they just did their job so well, you left them on autopilot, but they're people too. They want to feel important. So are we rewarding employee anniversary celebrations or their longevity and what they've done well? If they've been with the company 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, we should have a program created with that. I mean, that makes them feel important for our clients internally, and then your clients can take these same ideas out if you put this together. So you can sell it to your clients, and they can go sell it to their clients. How about holiday celebrations programs? I think a lot of people are going to say, well, we do stuff around the holidays. Well, let's get to other holidays. I mean, I did one thing over the year of Halloween. I sent out, that wasn't a brand identity, it was. I sent a product out and a Halloween card 15 years ago. And to this day, they're like, that's one of the strangest things I've actually ever seen, but we'll never forget it. And they're like, Halloween, you sent this? But I was just like, we're spooky happy to tell you you're a great client. And they're like, that's really strange. Although we never forgot it, it's stuck in our brain forever. That's how you got to think, right? So think about holidays, think about things, and again, you're thanking them for their business. We don't want just satisfied customers with us. We want raving fans. How about lunch and learn education programs? This is bringing people in, or your client bringing people in, and you're educating them. This doesn't have to be you need to always have apparel or always talk about the newest highlighter or pen or coffee mug. That's not what I'm talking about. Whatever your customers are going to be interested in hearing from you, you can bring an outside expert in, you know, to educate them. But when you're doing these regular education programs, monthly ideally, at least 6 times a year, or maybe at least 4 times a year, you should have a couple of products to show that you or them to show their customers they're tied in to educating and continually learning. Because if we're not learning and moving forward, I can tell you based on research, we're going backwards. How about incentive programs to create for top paying clients? Top dollar clients. I mean, those top dollar clients, we want to keep those guys happy. Now, you got to be careful how you do this. You don't want to not reward or, you know, make somebody feel bad if they're a smaller client. That's not what we're trying to do. But I created years ago, when we had promo products, print, banners, I created this little tiered rebate program, and they got a product with it and I think a gift card. And each year, you know, whatever their sales were, say it was $100,000. Once they got to $100,001, that to $125,000, they got 1% off from there. And from there, if they went to $126, it was 1.5% off. And then, you know, et cetera, and just these tiers. And I had many people, because of those programs, they would get to the end of the year, and even if they were thinking of sending it to another company just to give them a little business, they're like, but we'll get that incentive with you. So think about cashback rewards, why people do these loyalty programs. Same idea. So create some products to go to incentivize those top dollar clients. And we all know who those clients of ours are, and those of your clients can do it with their clients as well. What about incentive programs and rebates for our quick paying clients? I can tell you as a business owner of many years, it is wonderful to have people who paid their bills promptly. I have people, and I almost always get paid, and I'm really proud of that. But I have people, if I email them an invoice, mail them an invoice, text them an invoice, or tattoo it to their forehead, they're like, did we get this? I'm like, dude, I mean, come on. And you know what I'm saying? So if you got somebody that just pays like clockwork, should we not reward them and create a program for that and then publicize that so your other customers go, how do we get that? Like, glad you asked. That's a program opportunity. And that's, you know, it's encouraging that behavior we want to see. How about a wellness and health program? People who aren't missing work. We don't want people coming sick. But people, you know what I'm talking about. There's some people that always are just somehow have a problem and they're not at work. My doctor said, boot, no way you're going to not be in this boot for Vegas. I said, we'll see. I told him I was going to. He said, your bone's straight. I said, that's good enough. So wellness, health programs, not falling down the stairs, things like that are always good. But if you're rewarding health, wellness, this is something you probably target at HR, you know, and look at those kind of people. Programs should be created for that to incentivize. Why? Because other people want to follow the same behaviors. How do we get the award? How do we get the picture? How do we get that product you have? Well, here's what the program's set up to do. And the last couple ideas I think I had is safety celebration program. Again, I mentioned it earlier, but it can be in the front office. Years ago in my company, big company we had, I'm standing there talking to somebody. Now think about it. I'm in the front office. I'm the senior VP of sales and marketing, and I'm like this. I have a thing of whiteout, and I'm like, they're like, dude. And I didn't realize the top button on. It went all over my face. And they're like, and I'm like, can I see? I'm telling you these stories. I can't make this stuff up, folks. I mean, people are like, what about story ideas? Like, I'm not at a shortage. This stuff happens every day. But what I'm saying is that literally could have been a serious problem. Thank God I was okay. But the top was off. I have no idea what I was doing. I had zero idea what I was doing. Safety is critical. We should create safety programs. Again, depending on the type of business they are. But you can have safety problems in the front office of anywhere. That includes locking the door. Keeping it safe. It's very important. And then how about a referral thank you program? Are we incentivizing people who are referring clients to us, referring prospects to us? I mean, that's our lifeblood. Who's better to give a referral than a current customer? And if we're creating that program where they know it's not just, hey, gee, thanks for doing that. There's a product associated with it. It's a regular thing. And they also can take that out to their client. Opportunity for you. You see, this is what I was telling you in the beginning as we move to the last couple of slides. Price is price. Value is equal to price plus your goods and services plus you. So if you're selling promotion products, if you're not bringing something to the table, you're bidding and hoping, I hope you can go low on price. But we want to see value, and that's what we want to see. I added this one slide at the end because I saw it the other day, and I want you to think about this with your business. Netflix did not kill Blockbuster. Ridiculous late fees did. Uber did not kill the taxi business. Limited access, fare control, in my opinion, way too high prices did. Apple did not kill the music industry when they went to iTunes. Being forced to buy music and CDs and long albums did. Amazon did not kill other retailers. Poor customer service and experience did. And I'm not sure about this, so my kids have stayed there. B&B isn't, yeah, that's just the place. Airbnb isn't killing the hotel industry. Limited availability and hotel options are. These are all new things that have developed, solutions to problems that people were facing. When I used to come out to Vegas 15 years ago, taxi rides were, what, 2 times, 3 times as much. They've been forced to compete. Amazon gives you a product in 24 hours and free shipping. Retailers have been made to compete. They weren't customer-centric, and we have to be, and that's what we're about. So be solution-oriented or else. Finally, last slide. Solution sales, you see them shaking hands together right there. We need to have passion. We need to have a pact, is what this stands for, people coming together. We need to have passion, energy, exuberance in what we do. We need to have authenticity, realness, genuineness in how we do it. We need to have creativity and approach. Again, I can give you some of these slides, but they're going to do it in a different way. And we need to have trust that's unequivocal as we bring these programs out so people know, hey, man, I want to do business with you. I can buy it from anybody. I want to do business with you. I'm buying you, and you're supplying me X, Y, Z. There's my information. I'm going to take a picture of it.